Three, two, one.
Hey, buddy. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the podcast that never, ever seems to have a semi-finals feel about it,
No.
even though we do our very best. How you going, big guy?
I think I feel like you. I've had a bit of a long week, let's just say. I've had a long week, and what about you? How's your sleeping going?
I'm just a stressed, grumpy, jaded old cunt that's just happy to get to this point in the podcast just to
Makes two
start.
of us.
So
That makes two
that
of us.
makes two of us. So isn't that awesome? But
Yeah,
we have had some development over the weekend.
yeah,
It has been an action-packed weekend. So
yeah.
uh, I think we might even kick it off with the NRL.
Yeah, okay. And then talk about the boxing and a bit of Aussie rules and
Yeah,
you
bit
know,
of everything.
yep, yep, yep.
Now, I will say this. I actually had a few Nostradamus moments from last episode. Not that anyone cares, but
I,
over the
I
course of
care.
this
I care.
podcast,
I,
you do care.
yeah, not
Thank
much,
you.
just a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, no, nobody's going to go back and check the record, that's for bloody sure. But let me
Yeah.
tell you, last week I
Mm.
actually picked the Panthers by 8. And what was the other one? Someone by 16. No, sorry, I picked the Storm by 8 and the Panthers by 16.
Yep, you did.
And they both came up trumps.
Yeah.
And I actually had a third entry, which was quite impressive too. 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I actually
Yeah.
picked the Broncos to beat the Raiders.
You did. You did.
And
You did.
we will get onto that game too. So just going through the scorelines, the Storm 26 beat the Dogs 18.
Yeah.
The Panthers 24 beat the Warriors 8 in a game where I think the full-time whistle was the real winner because it was an absolute bludger.
Yeah.
Sharks 20 beat the Roosters 10, so that's the end of the mighty Roosters for this year. That
Yeah.
is the one prediction that I got wrong.
Yeah.
And the Broncos, in what I largely see as maybe the greatest semi-final I've ever seen, or close to it. That's a big call, but at
Yeah.
least the biggest and best semi-final I have seen in an extremely long time. It was played through normal time, played through extra time, and decided in Golden Point,
Yeah.
with the Broncos winning 29 over the Raiders 28.
Yeah. Can I just say one thing? Here
Yeah,
I am waiting for you, and I got on to
yeah,
just researching a bit. I watched the game. Okay, I
yeah,
watched
yeah.
Canberra and I watched Broncos. Right.
Yes,
And
yes.
I don't know whether you do this. You watch it on your phone and you watch it with no sound.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
We were watching TV.
yeah.
Got to the kick. Where toilet water drinker. He hit the crossbar and it hit.
Yes.
And then there was another attempt at goal or something that they didn't get. Something like that. Do you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And and I didn't listen to it, and I was like, oh wow, Canberra won. Turned it off.
Yeah,
Turned it off. And just now I'm researching it, and it said Brisbane won by 1 point. And I'm like, oh, isn't that funny? Google's got it wrong. It was actually me. Because I saw Ricky go, yay! They thought,
yeah.
and
Mhm.
sorry, that's a bit boring, that story. Anyway, has that
No, but
happened to
that's
you before when you've stopped too early? You've thought, oh, we've won it, and
someone's won, and then from out of nowhere, another side wins.
yeah,
I've turned off the TV before,
yeah,
and that's
yeah,
happened.
yeah,
I didn't do it on this occasion,
yeah.
which
That's
is
what happened
something
to me.
that
Yeah,
you obviously did. Now, the main catalyst for the comeback was actually 3 tries in 7 minutes.
yeah. Can you
So,
run through the end? I just watched it. So, I mean, how did it happen? Canberra ahead, and they had a field goal to even it up, and it hit the
Yeah.
ground. They had another one, and it missed, and they said penalty. What
Yeah.
was the penalty about? And then they took the two. What happened?
Okay, so I can give you a reasonably detailed finish to the game. So essentially, the Raiders were all but home and they were leading by 16 points with 16 minutes left in the game. And then in the 65th minute, Mr. Toilet Water, Reece Walsh,
Yeah.
scored in the 65th minute with 15 minutes to go.
Well,
A little while later, Karapani scored in the 69th minute, and then Shibasaki scored in the 72nd minute. So essentially, it was 3 tries in 7 minutes.
yeah.
And the floodgates completely opened. In fact, Reece Walsh channeled Nathan Cleary from the grand final a couple of years back. It had huge shades of that Panthers Broncos grand final.
Yeah.
And what happened is it's one of those moments where somebody just completely takes over the game, puts the team on his back, and says, guys, it's all or nothing. And mate, Reece Walsh just got completely in the zone. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He completely owned the back end of that game. So what essentially happened was they got a penalty goal, Brisbane, in the 80th
Yeah,
minute
that's when
because,
I thought they missed the goal and I turned it off. You know,
yeah, it was
what
that
minute was that? What minute was that?
the 80th minute. That was right at the end.
So
Yeah.
you'd be forgiven for turning it off. You
Yeah,
know,
he was going for the field goal from about 40 metres out in the 79th minute.
missed it.
He actually
I turned
kicked
it
it.
off.
Yeah,
Ricky cheered. This game
yeah.
over.
Yeah, yeah. And then
But
he kicked the goal in the 80th minute. So here's what happened. It's that rule whereby if you actually touch the person going for
because he missed
a
the goal, he
field goal, yes.
missed it, and then they all cheered like Canberra's
Mm.
won. Ricky cheered,
Yeah,
and then they said, "Oh, penalty, penalty, penalty." I didn't see that or hear that because I turned it off, but it won,
yeah.
and they got a penalty right up front to even the score.
Correct. So essentially what even happened is he didn't even miss it as such. He did, but the actual drop goal was charged down.
Yeah,
But the problem is the person running through to charge it down
yeah.
wasn't the person who charged it down, but there was another person running through, and it brushed Reece Walsh's leg
Right.
after he kicked
When
the
you say
ball
brushed, like,
in the process.
was it like a?
Yeah, well, it touched him. And we've seen this rule recently a few times. If you touch the kicker, it becomes a penalty if they're going for field goal. And that's what then sent it into extra time, not golden
That,
point.
that, that rule has changed so many games, hasn't it? Because
It has
when you're
indeed.
going for field goal, like
Yeah.
you really only need 1 point or 2 points, and suddenly you miss it, and then they're like, "Oh, penalty," and they touch his leg, and they get a penalty kick right in front. You know?
Yeah, you can't stop on a dime, and the game isn't played in slow motion. It's one of those crazy rules, but be that as it may, it's a rule. I've
Yeah,
seen it both favour and hamper Manly,
yeah,
our side,
yeah.
in the past. We've both lost and won games due to that rule. In fact, our one was a draw and a victory, but I've seen sides lose because of that. We beat the Storm because of that rule
Yeah.
earlier on in the year. It's be that as it may, the rule is the rule. So then it went into extra time, not golden point. They played 5 minutes either way, each way. Still nothing after that. And then finally, there was actually a field goal
But there was a
kicked by
disallowed
Ben
try there
Hunt
too.
in I believe it was the 93rd minute of the game.
Yeah, there was disallowed try in that extra time too. You know,
Yes.
I just
Yes.
watched it now and just thought, what's going on? Like anyway, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, Canberra had a disallowed try because there was a minor knock on. It
Yeah,
was a knock on.
yeah,
So look, that game was 4 seasons in one day. It was a pizza with the lot. It literally had everything. Everything you want in a semi-final was in the Broncos 29 versus the Raiders 28. It was
Yeah,
amazing. So unfortunately, those people with their little, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, retarded clap, go home with, a few tears in their eyes. The horn wasn't quite blowing at the end of the game, and we kind of progress into next week. And in some way, unfortunately, the team who came first for the year, the minor premiers Raiders, in a strange sort of way, it kind of disadvantages them for next week because they've actually played an extra 13 minutes.
yeah, yeah. Well,
You think of all the injuries and the bash and barge,
yeah.
like they've kind of gone from the penthouse to the shithouse. So both sides would have really been hoping to win that game because I don't care how hard you slice it, it's extra wear and tear.
Yeah, but they're going to get a home match. Who are they playing?
They'll be playing the Sharks next
Sharks
week.
in Canberra.
Yes. So and I'm not willing to write off the
Gonna
Sharks
be
either. They've beaten the Bulldogs and the Roosters consecutively.
yeah, are they going to be the Adelaide Crows, Aussie, Aussie rules where they're the minor premiers come first and then lose twice and bow out? Is that going to
Yeah,
happen?
I'm glad you mentioned that with the AFL. Poor old Adelaide. I mean, it depends. I'm not a Crows supporter, but I can only imagine how bad that would feel going out in straight. It's not only in straight sets, but both of those games were at Adelaide Oval.
Yeah. Well, it'll be the same if Canberra lose this one. They'll
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
matched, but um,
yeah,
look, I know I'm going to drop it, but me turning off the game when I thought Canberra had won,
yeah,
it reminded me of that crazy story you have, that we
yeah,
haven't said on the Red Hot Underdogs. Remember when you walked past people that must have left the game early,
yeah,
you're off to see a game and said, "Oh, bloody Manly lost" or something like that, bloody man.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
this is years ago, and then you were,
yeah,
oh God, this bloke spoilt the game for me. And then
yeah.
went home and you watched the replay, even knowing that Manly lost, and
And they won.
they won.
Correct.
So this
Absolutely.
bloke that you walked past, right,
Yes. Yeah.
said, "Oh, bloody Manly lost," and would have
Yeah.
been in my boat.
Yeah.
Would be a term for that. What can we call it? Doing a, I don't know.
I don't know, but it's celebrating too
Celebrating
early.
too
But
early. So well, it's not celebrating,
I
because
don't know whatever the fuck it is, but it's the
yeah,
Bermuda Triangle. That's what it
it's
is.
a triangle.
Because I went home
Yeah,
thinking, oh my God, they've lost. And it wasn't even someone who watched the game in its entirety. In fairness, it had finished, but it was some drunken idiot outside a pub
yeah.
who left obviously with a minute to go and hadn't watched the entirety of the game.
The,
Similar to what could happen in this actual game with the Broncos and the Raiders.
well, that did happen to me. Did
It's the Bermuda Triangle. Let's just call it that.
like it's so rare, like that happening. So anyway, but the crazy thing is, so you thought Manly lost, well,
Yeah,
understandably, you overheard that.
yeah.
If you still watched the full game, and then imagine right at the end, we're like, oh my God, and Manly got the ball, and Winger come up and score a
And
try.
they win. Yeah, it was a good surprise. It was many years ago. Look, these things happen. Even when my side loses, I like to watch the game in its entirety, just to sort of pick up on even the slightest positive I can take into the next week
Yeah.
or the next year if we get bundled out. So I'm very much like that. Uh, the
So
other games, the Sharks 20 over the Roosters 10. So the Roosters unfortunately bundle out for this year. One thing about the Roosters, they're an interesting side because when they are hot, they are awesome to watch. But I think in hindsight, and it's easy to play Monday morning quarterback and be the expert after the fact, but I just think that this year, they're just too inconsistent. They're completely rocks and diamonds.
yeah, yeah,
But the Sharks were very good. I will preface that. And they've kind of shook off the ghost of Greg Norman somewhat.
Yeah,
with their choking ways,
that
because
win.
before this
Yeah,
semi-final, they were 1 from 6 in semi-finals.
yeah. They've turned it around now. After
Yeah.
after 2 years in a row, they've turned that around. That they get to semi-finals and bow out. That doesn't happen now.
You know what I think has helped? Like, they put so much pressure on themselves for so long, and I think actually finishing outside the top four has helped. And the fact that they've been labelled with the choker tag, so I think they got to a point where they're like, screw it, let's just play nice, free-flowing football, see what we can do, because no one believes in us anyway, and we've got the choker tag, so it is what it is now. They were no longer worried about it, but I will say this. There was a moment in the second half where the Roosters decided to, really get on top, and you could feel the momentum in the Roosters' direction. However, the Sharks, they were ahead 12-4 at half time, but it soon became 12-10 in the second half. But the Sharks in the past might have dropped their lollies, but on this occasion, they stayed strong, they stayed in the fight, and they ground it all the way out to the end and won 20-10, 3 tries to 2, 3 conversions from 3 from Hines, 1 from 2 from Walker, and a well-deserved victory for the Sharks. 2 tries to Mulatalo, 1 to Toby Rudolph, and for the Roosters, it was 1 try to Nwanga Nitawaze and 1 to Angus Crichton.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's the only match I didn't watch actually. But
Yeah.
keep going. What's the next one?
But and let's go on to the Panthers and the Warriors.
Yeah. Yeah.
This, as I mentioned earlier, was the game where the full-time whistle was actually the winner
Well, look,
because it was a bludger of a game.
I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it, and I think I showed you where I was watching it, and
Yeah, yeah,
it's not just the game, Drew. It's
yeah.
the situation. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me explain. So my daughter was sick, vomited, and some
Mm.
people, when kids get sick, they say, okay, we'll have a Panadol and rest. And some say, let's go straight to emergency. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
know, this kid vomited. Let's see a specialist doctor straight to emergency, the hospital.
yeah.
And sometimes, Drewy, you can't argue that. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's true. Even though you know that when you get to the hospital, and I've had this situation with my daughter, they're just going to tell you, take a Panadol, have some rest,
Well, they
blah, blah,
did
blah.
a blood test, and there was
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
was okay,
But you've got to take these precautions, even though you know the
I
inevitable answer.
and I could tell she's doing much better. But anyway, so as we're
Yeah,
sitting there waiting for tests, I'm just like, oh God. And then, the penny dropped, and I was like,
yeah.
rugby league, you know.
Yes,
So
yes.
watching on my phone, and
Yeah,
then lo and behold, I look up, in the waiting room in emergency, and there's a
mm,
huge big television there. And I'm like,
yeah,
nurse, can we put the rugby league on here? So I sit it around with all these patients waiting to see doctors and this and that, watching that game. So my point is, it was a bit of a fizzer game, okay,
yeah.
but it made a really unpleasant, you know,
Moment more pleasant. Yeah.
really good. And the feeling I got, Julie, was I tell you what it was. It was how good is rugby league? It just made
Yeah, it was. It is still good. Like, I mean, it still
good.
has a bit of the semi-finals feeling about it. The
Oh, it's
one
great,
positive,
mate. Honestly, it's great because these things happen in life that are just full.
mm,
Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? You got
yeah,
to
yeah,
deal with this. You got to deal with that. You got to put up with this. You got to put up with that. It's a battle. Do you know what I
I
mean?
know. In other words, it makes the
And
kick in the nuts that much more sweeter because
yeah,
it just takes the pain away a little bit
and
more.
then you get to watch rugby league, and you just
Yeah,
thank God
I gotcha.
there's
I
something
gotcha.
normal
Mm,
and enjoyable in this world. You know,
yes,
That's
that's
really
true.
and thank God for rugby league and not
Yeah,
just rugby league, sport. because
Yeah,
that's why we do this, Drewy. That's why, because
that's why.
it gives you and me, I'm serious, a little
Yeah,
bit normal in our life.
yeah.
But just
I know.
a bit.
I,
Little. Do you
I know.
understand?
That's true.
A
I'm
bit.
feeling you're on the psychologist lounge right now.
Thank
I'll
you.
make a slight departure from you, but I get it because I feel your angst.
Yeah.
And it does. It takes away the angst. And
It's
as
the
I
best part
said
of my
last,
weekend. Watching
no,
the
it is.
game was the best part of my weekend. You said it was a fifth up. It was the best part of my weekend. And the next best part of my weekend is right now, Drewy. You know?
Yeah, bloody oath.
Then you
So
know what the next best part of my week will be? Listening to this. Isn't that?
that I know we're a bunch of very, very sad remedial level idiots,
Oh,
but
God.
we love it. But
God.
however, the
Yeah.
one thing I did mention last week is that I did feel as though the Warriors were in this game to collect a participation certificate for being in the semis. It turned out to be the case. My favourite part about this game was actually choosing the 16-point margin
Yeah.
that I chose from last episode. Look, let's be honest, this game was. I guess the chances of Warriors winning this for me were like a 3,000 pound woman entering the Miss Universe
Oh, yeah.
contest
I want to
on
see.
a wild card entry. Now, that'd have to be one hell of a wild card entry. I don't know
Oh,
how that would work,
chunky,
but
chunky,
yeah.
chunky. Oh, you're speaking my language there. Give me some of that. Give me some of that stuff. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Look,
So, it was just never going to end well for the Warriors. So, shout out to all those bloody New Zealanders. But I'm not trashing your team, but let's be honest. Every year there's one side that just, is going out in the first round of the semis.
okay.
So, the next one will cruise along to the Storm 26 over the Dogs 18. Here's another one I picked margin and winner. I'm going to have a lot of errors in my lifetime over this podcast, so I may as well cash in on the things that I do get right.
Yeah.
One person that was amazing was Jonah Pezzett, who actually filled in for the Storm's halfback, Jerome Hughes, who was out.
Yeah.
No Jerome, no worries.
Uh-huh.
Jonah Pezzett was my man of the match. He
Yeah.
was absolutely phenomenal. For the Dogs, they're a bit like the busted Dogs right now because not only did they lose on the scoreboard, they've also got some injuries. Stephen Crichton now has a foot and ankle injury. Uh, Anari Tuala, his season is over because he's got a fractured leg.
Jesus.
And Viliami Kikau is refusing to get an x-ray because he might have a fractured cheekbone. I can understand him not wanting to get the x-ray because if he gets it and it says it's fractured, then he might not be able to play next week. So it's a bit of a smoke screen.
So can they make him get it?
Maybe, but I don't think he wants to. So he's trying to do it against his wishes. We'll see how that comes out in the wash.
Say it's
The
like
saddest in me likes to see him reject the X-ray and go out like an absolute soldier.
yeah, yeah, I like that. And
Yeah.
he can just kind of blame it on like religion or something, like, oh, my religion doesn't allow me to get X-rays, and then no one
Correct.
like, okay,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, we're not going to go there, mate. Like, don't get your, you know what I mean? Yeah.
100%. So next week it'll be the Dogs versus the
Wait,
Panthers.
next week, let's do it.
It'll be the Dogs versus the Panthers and the Sharks and the Raiders.
Yeah.
I don't have a day or a time, so check it out, you lazy cunts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I
Yeah.
can't do everything for you. I can't wipe your nose and wipe your ass. I'll
What
try and
about
do it when
prediction?
I can.
You can
But those are the games.
give us a prediction, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I can give you a prediction. I'm predicting, I'm going to say the Panthers by 14.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that
Wow.
the dogs are not only busted up,
Gone.
I just feel as though the Panthers are starting to get some belief and some momentum, and I don't think that the Galvin experiment has worked out. Because guess what? Who played really well when they came on? Toby Sexton, the
Yeah.
guy who was dropped for
Good
Galvin,
call.
and he only came on via an injury in the Bulldogs team, and he actually ignited their attack.
Yeah, he was
How
good.
ironic!
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the next match?
Sharks and Raiders is not as clear cut as everyone thinks.
Okay. All right.
All of a sudden,
What does everybody think, Drewy?
I think a lot of people will still think the Raiders will win. But I'm not so certain. They've
Um,
played an extra 13
yeah,
minutes of wear and tear. This could be Adelaide Crows
times two.
2.0.
Yeah,
It
not
could be.
2.0. It'd be times two because it'd be Canberra getting knocked out into
Yes.
and doggies coming top four and getting knocked out in two games. Are you predicting that? Yes or no?
This could be us getting barreled out as a doubles pair against Novak Djokovic in straight sets.
Really?
So we'll see what happens. Listen, I'm going to say the Raiders by. Fuck it. I'm going to go on a limb. I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm going to go the mighty Sharkies by 8. There
eight.
you go.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
going to go the Sharkies by 8. I'm
Yeah,
going to go out on a good red hot underdog limb
okay.
and have those poor old Canberra Raiders blowing a horn that makes no noise.
Well, I'm going to disagree with both. I reckon the doggies are going to win, and
Yeah,
the Raiders are going to win. So there you go.
this is good. Love a point of difference.
Yeah.
So that's all good. And
Boxing,
obviously,
boxing, eh? Or do you want to bit of
yes.
Aussie rules? Bit of Aussie rules, or
Uh, there's not too much to deal with Aussie rules, but we'll quickly run over and then get into the boxing. Just let me know when the 10 minutes is coming around. So Hawthorn beat Adelaide 101 to 67. Poor old Adelaide Crows never fired a shot.
yeah,
They never even squeaked out a poof to fart
yeah.
in these semi-finals, and they lost by 34. And no, I probably can't say it. I'm not going to get suspended from this podcast like poor old AnzaK Rankin got suspended from the Crows.
10
But
minutes.
that's another story. 10 minutes, beautiful. The Lions 100 beat the Suns 47. Listen, the Suns were never going to win. Lions by 53, but the Suns can be well proud of making their first semi-finals, and there's some light there and
Yeah,
potential
they
for the
won.
future.
They won. The Suns won. Okay, so bring on next Saturday, College
Yes.
Magpies. That's Brisbane. Brisbane's in again.
Yes.
Yeah.
That one is actually at Saturday at 5:15. I've got a time and date for these ones. Cats and Hawthorn Friday 7:40. So we'll see how all of that goes.
And predictions?
I'm going the Cats and the Pies.
Go Pies. Hot
Yeah.
Pies. Hot Pies.
So there we go.
And
Get it.
now while I say it, so next week we're going to have a get Grosy on
Yeah.
our Aussie rules specialist. Yeah.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Now, moving on to boxing.
Yep.
History was created today in the super middleweight division when Terence Bud Crawford, who now moves to 42 wins, no losses, and no draws,
Crazy.
with 31 big wins coming via way of knockout, has beaten the legendary Saul Canelo Alvarez, who has a record of 63 wins, now has 3 losses and 2 draws and 39 wins via KO
Yeah.
by unanimous decision.
It's not just an amazing result for boxing, right?
Mm.
It's also an amazing, you know, the fact that it's free and on
Yes,
Netflix and
yes.
not a circus fight. I think we need to address that as well.
Not a circus fight. It was a purely elite fight.
Elite fight, and credit where credit's due. Like
Yes.
Netflix put this on for free. Why did they put this on for free, Drewy?
I think they're trying to change the scope of boxing and bring boxing more back into the mainstream. I
No,
love it. I
no.
don't know. You
Really
can give me an
Netflix
answer.
care about boxing? No. They're a business that wants to make money. Okay.
That sounds good enough for me.
So did they make money on this? No, but they're going to get subscribers. They're going to get
Yeah,
subscribers. And, you know, sure, this fight is free,
yeah,
but they're going to get more subscribers, more subscribers. Eventually, they won't be free on Netflix.
yeah.
Do you know what?
No, it won't. So enjoy the candy while it's
Yeah.
available and
It's
free
available
on
now,
Netflix.
but
Yes.
but
It won't be available later.
yeah,
No.
soon.
Yeah,
Soon,
yeah.
soon it'll be okay. You want to watch this boxing fight, you have to have Netflix Premium or something.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, it's business 101. How many times do you see a hamburger place with these giant burgers, big fries? Then once they get all the people coming in, the consumers, and it's a big place, they put up the price and they reduce the size of the meal. You
And
see that shit all the time.
I know you just said like that was probably the biggest sporting event to happen in the whole world yesterday. Is that what you said? You
Yes,
said
yeah.
something like that.
I don't know, maybe. Yeah, today. Yeah.
Okay. What was it the biggest thing this week in the whole
I
world?
think I would possibly say so, yes.
Well, you're wrong.
I would, definitely. Oh, well, maybe wrong.
Well,
But I wouldn't mind getting to the fight. Can I just let you in on a few major details?
no,
Well, no, I'll let you. What was the
tell me-
biggest thing? You go.
well, I'll tell you. Are you going to tell us about the fight? I'll tell you what was bigger. And I'll tell you what was bigger today. Today, there was another fight.
Your
JJ,
son.
my boy,
Yeah,
fought for
yeah,
Gracie Barra, okay?
yes,
Gracie Barra,
yes,
and
yeah,
he fought three times. He won the first
yeah,
one, won the
yeah.
second one, lost the third one, and he got the silver medal for Gracie Barra.
Oh, what a legend.
A
I'm
legend.
glad I waited for that
Jitsu, I should say that. It's Jinjitsu. Jinjitsu. So there
Jiu-Jitsu.
you go,
Yeah.
mate. You know,
Oh,
and
that was well worth the wait. That was even bigger than this fight.
you know, I know you're going to talk about the fight, but can I just say that we
Yeah,
haven't talked about this sport, Jiu-Jitsu, before,
yeah,
but
yeah,
JJ's been doing it for 2 months, and I tell
yeah.
you, Billy, it is huge. It
Mate, I saw the footage. He was phenomenal. His
like,
grappling was on point.
true, but I'm saying the amount of people that do it, the industry, the Jiu-Jitsu
Yeah,
industry is
yeah.
huge. I've talked about it. Remember the
It
Jiu-Jitsu?
has. You have. It was big.
So moving on to the fight, Drew, you got
Yeah.
4 minutes and 54 seconds
Thank you.
about the fight. Okay.
So Terence Crawford becomes the only man to ever win the undisputed and unified champion in three different divisions. That means holding all of the belts in three different divisions. He's
Crazy.
been a world champion in five divisions.
Yep.
Uh, the official scores were, which puts him in a nice place in history. This was a huge win for him. The official scores from the judges were 116, 112, 115, 113, and 115, 113, all by unanimous decision for Bud Crawford. Now, I actually had my score at 117, 111 for Crawford over Canelo. So that would be 9 rounds to 3. The other closest one to me was 116, 112, which is 8 rounds to 4. The other two had it a lot closer, 7 rounds to 5. Anyway, long story short, Terence Crawford was always 2 steps ahead of Canelo Alvarez. No, for all those Mexicans who don't like losing, he wasn't running. It's called boxing. Hit, don't get hit. His foot movement, his punch placement, all the technique, all the boxing IQ, it was on show and completely befuddled Mr. Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah. A couple of quick questions. I've got 2 minutes. Number one, what's next for him?
Okay, well, I don't think there'll be a rematch. There'd be a lot of money in it, and he'd happily take it. But I'm not sure Alvarez will want to go there because I can't see him improving anything on that. I don't know what is there for either, but all I can say is that Terence Crawford has a whole lot more options now than Canelo Alvarez.
Okay.
Alvarez might be able to do a few of these circus fights now. He's not washed by any means, but this was a big loss, and this was a very, very high stakes fight for both of them, a legacy fight for both of them. One of those fights is like Mayweather Pacquiao, where you actually get seen as being kind of on a higher plane than the other guy, and both fan bases really buy in.
Yeah, well, now, I mean, you probably would have said Crawford was a top 10 fighter of all time. I reckon you would have said.
Yeah,
Did
yeah, possibly.
fight? Do you reckon he's a top five fighters of all time?
No, I wouldn't say top five. Look, I'd fit him in my top 15. There's been
Okay,
a lot of good
you just said he
fighters.
was top 10 before this.
No, 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 I mean, you're talking all time. There've been a lot of great
All
fighters.
time. I'm talking all time.
Yeah. Yeah, look, that's a hard debate. There are so many ups and downs. Like, I'd probably have him in the top 15. Mayweather's certainly there above both of these guys. But listen, for what it's worth, it was a pretty good fight. More one for the purists, but if you know your boxing, it was one that you would
It
have
wasn't
enjoyed.
because it was free, so it was for everyone. So it wasn't for the.
Yeah, I know, but as far as the spectacle is concerned, what I'm saying is it wasn't a rock 'em, sock 'em, hit 'em in a phone box or drag 'em out and beat 'em down one. It was more of a tactical chess match.
Okay.
The one thing, the one thing I will say, which is kind of alarming for Canelo, in his losses to Mayweather, Bivol, and now Crawford, he's shown a tendency not to make adjustments or be able to make adjustments once he falls behind or change game plans. That's been one of his probably unfortunate knocks throughout his career.
He's on the wrong side of 30 something, isn't he?
That's correct. He's 36. I think actually Terence Crawford's about to be 38, but
Yeah.
Terence Crawford's had a lot less fights and is much more well preserved.
I'm sorry to say we've run out of time.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, we got
All
it.
good.
Anything else you want to say?
No, that's it. It's about to run out now. Just like and subscribe, you bludgers. And remember, if you can push the like, you can push the fucking subscribe button. So fire up, you sad piece of shit.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll end on that.
I've ended on an angry note. That's what
Okay.
we do.
What a week, mate. What a week.
I know. I'm just glad to get to the end of it. Thank God for that.
It's a good end to the week, isn't it? Really.
Oh, mate, I love a bit of sport to end